Okay, so let us proceed to the next function, which is cubic function. So as you can see from the note here, for cubic function we have two cases, which is the difference from between the two cases is obviously the shape. And then macam mana kita nak bezakan from case 1 to case 2 is if you have case 1, contoh kamu ada x cube sahaja, okay, x cube plus 1, okay, itu ialah case 1. For case 2 you will have x square dengan x dekat sini. Okay, as you can see from the question, contoh macam kat sini kita ada x cube plus 8. So this should be case 1. Okay, contoh kat sini x minus 1 cube, ini ialah satu benda. Okay, so that should be case 1. So if for question C, so here if we expand this, you are going to get 3x square minus x cube. So that should be case 3. Okay, so you have to know how to differentiate from case 1 to case 2. Okay, so the shape, let's see for the case 1, cubic function, the shape is like S. Dia ada slanted dekat tengah-tengah kita. Contoh, if your A is positive, so kita ada positive x cube, this shape should be looking something like this. Okay, daripada kanan turun ke kiri. Okay, so this is fx equals to x cube, positive x cube. Okay, let's say if we have our A negative, and that should be like this, daripada kiri ke kanan. Okay, fx equals to negative x cube. Okay, kalau positif atas kanan, kalau negatif atas mesti start daripada kiri. Okay, so that is for case 1. So for case 2, kalau A kita positive, let's say the coefficient of x cube is positive, your shape should be looking like this. Okay, kalau negatif pula, dia daripada atas ke bawah dulu. Alright, so that is the difference between shapes. So for cubic, we should have 4 different shapes lah. Kamu kena identify between case 1 dengan case 2. Okay, so the function should be looking like this. Kita ada fx equals to, so general kita ada plus minus a, x minus h cube plus minus k. Alright, so this determine your shape. Okay, ini plus minus a determine your shape. So kalau positif daripada kanan lah, kalau negatif daripada kiri. And then hk dekat sini akan determine kita punya inflection point. So apa tu inflection point? Ini ialah inflection point kita. Okay, so graph kita tu akan inflect dekat mana. So there are 3 things that you have to find for cubic function. The first thing, biasa kita akan cari basic shape. Okay, so second thing, we have to find the inflection point. Okay, so inflection point, which is kat sini samalah HK juga. Okay, so kalau macam untuk quadratic, kamu cari minimum dengan maximum point. For cubic, we are going to find our inflection point. Okay, and then for third one, macam biasa, kita akan cari X-Intercept and Y-Intercept. Okay, okay, so let us proceed to the first question. Question A, we have fx equals to negative x cube plus 8. So if we rewrite this function, should be looking like this. fx equals to negative x plus 0 cube plus 8. Okay, so the first thing, we have to determine the shape. So we have our A is negative, so mesti start daripada kiri. First, you know that this is a cubic function, so you should have cubic function case 1. So you should have a shape like this. Since our A is negative, so the shape should be looking like this. Daripada sebelah kiri turun ke kanan. Okay, so the second thing is you have to determine your inflection point. Okay, so inflection point. So inflection point is HK. So our H here is 0, our K is 8. So that is our inflection point, 0, 8. Okay, so third thing is to find our X-intercept and Y-intercept. This is like the normal thing that we did before lah. So X-intercept is when Y equals to 0. So we should have negative x cube plus 8 equals to 0. You should have x cube equals to 2. Okay, x cube equals to 2, x cube equals to 8, x is equals to 2. Okay, so for y-intercept, you should have x equals to 0, and then kita akan ada obviously equals to 8. Alright, so now we are going to draw our function here. Okay, saya draw dekat sini lah. Ini kita padam dulu. So we draw our function here. Okay, so sketch your function, draw your x-axis, y-axis. Make sure to write your x and y. Every time I sketch a graph, I will remind you x and y. So please jangan lupa. Okay, so the first thing, sama juga kalau macam quadratic, the first thing that we plot is our maximum or minimum point. The same thing for cubic function. The first thing you have to do is to plot your inflection point. So our inflection point is 0, 8. So we should have 0 here and 8 somewhere around here. Okay, so this is our inflection point. Okay, so we know that our graph is from the left to right. So it should be like looking like this. Okay, so kita draw je lah. So from left, tak cantiknya. From left turun ke right. Okay, so let's check. Our x-intercept is equals to 2. So betul lah ngam dekat sini ialah x equals to 2. Okay, our y-intercept is equals to 8. So y is equals to 8 from here. Okay, so we're done. Now let's just put our domain. Domain should be from the left. Left is this one is negative infinity. To right is negative infinity. Negative infinity to infinity. So the same will be for range, negative infinity to infinity. Okay, so very simple. Okay, so that is for the first question. Okay, kita tengok second question. We have fx equals to 2 plus x minus 1 cube. So the first thing you have to decide is the shape. Okay, for any function, the first thing you have to decide is shape. So shape dekat sini ialah plus. Okay, di depan cube kita ialah plus, which is positive. So graphnya mesti bermula daripada kanan. Alright, so the second thing is to find our inflection point. So inflection point here is hk. So h here is yang di dalam. Okay, this one is x minus h. Okay, so x minus h equals to 0, x is equals to h. So sekarang your h should be 1 lah. K ialah yang di luar. So your K is 2. So this is our inflection point 1, 2. Okay, so the third step is to find our x-intercept and y-intercept. So we have x-intercept is when y equals to 0. So we should have 2 plus x minus 1 cube is equals to 0. X minus 1 cube equals to negative 2. Okay, jangan tulis undefined pula. Cube root negative 2 ada jawapan dia. Okay, cube root negative 2 ada jawapan dia. So here we will have x minus 1 cube. Sorry, kita kira x dekat sini akan dapat cube root negative 2 plus 1. You should get negative 0.26. Okay, so now we want to find our y-intercept when x is equals to 0. So we will have y is equals to 2 plus 0 minus 1 cube. And here we are going to get 2 minus 1 equals to 1. Okay, so we have everything that we want. We have the inflection point. We have our x-intercept. We have our y-intercept here. So let's just sketch our graph. Okay, our x-axis, y-axis. X, tulis, y, tulis. Okay, so the first thing, macam biasa, we have to plot the inflection point first. So we have the inflection point is 1, 2. So here is 1. 1 is somewhere around here. 2 is somewhere around here. Okay, kecil sangat pula. 1, 2. Okay, so here. This is our inflection point, 1, 2. So we know that the shape is positive from right to left. So from right to left. Okay, so boleh juga jadi macam ni, boleh juga turun macam ni. So how to determine? By looking at our intercept. So we have our x-intercept negative 0.26. So it should be intercept here and y equals to 1. So here. So the graph should be looking like this. Okay, sorry. So ini inflect dekat sini. Alright, so we are going to label our intercept. Y is equals to 1, x equals to negative 0.26. Okay, so now the domain should be negative infinity to infinity or real number. Range is real number as well. Okay, so very simple. For cubic function, you just have to determine your inflection point and then determine your x-intercept and y-intercept. Alright, so now we are going to look for question C. Okay, we are going to look at question C here. We have fx equals to x square 3 minus x. Okay, so as I said earlier, if we expand this, you are going to get 3x square minus x cube. So bila-bila kamu tengok cubic function kamu ada x square ataupun x, that is case 2. Okay, so kalau kita tengok case 2, maksudnya dia akan shape dia ialah S pula, S yang baring. Okay, so kalau the first case kita ada S yang berdiri. Okay, kalau case 2, S yang baring. So kita ada dua juga shape dia, sama ada yang atas ataupun yang bawah. So now we are going to look at here, okay, the coefficient of x cube. So the basic shape here ialah, sebab dia negatif, daripada atas turun ke bawah. Okay, so this is our basic shape. Okay, because our coefficient of x cube is negative. Okay, now we are going to proceed to the second part. Okay, so untuk ini, untuk case 2 kita tak cari inflection point. Okay, we are not going to look at our inflection point sebab dia tak inflect dekat mana-mana pun. We are going to straight away find our x-intercept and y-intercept. Okay, so for x-intercept is when y equals to 0, so we will have x square 3 minus x equals to 0. So we will have x square equals to 0, x equals to 0, 3 minus x equals to 0, x equals to 3. Okay, so there are two x-intercepts for this function. So now let's find y-intercept, which is when x equals to 0. So obviously when this equals to 0, this equals to 0, your y-intercept is equals to 0. Okay, so before we sketch, okay, kita boleh sketch dulu lah. Let's see. We have the axis here, x, y. Okay, so we don't have inflection point for case 2. So we only have our x-intercept and y-intercept. So we have x-intercept 0 and 3. So somewhere here. And we have our y-intercept 0. So it will be intercept here. Okay, so we know that the shape is something like this. Okay, so macam mana kita nak buat dia dalam bentuk macam ni? Okay, so we should find another thing here. We should do testing value. Kita nak tengok graph ni pergi ke mana. The first thing here, kita tahu dia akan turun bawah. Okay, so sama ada dia akan turun sampai ke sini ataupun ke sini, kita tak tahu. Okay, obviously tak boleh turun ke sini because this is not x-intercept. Okay, x-intercept kita ada dua sahaja, x equals to 0 dengan x equals to 3. So what is going to happen here, this is our x-intercept, dia akan naik dekat sini. Okay, tapi dia akan naik sampai mana? We are going to do testing value. Let's say this is 2. So we are going to find when x is equals to 2, so our y should be 2 square 3 minus 2, and that should be equals to 4. So 2 equals to 4, somewhere around here. Okay, so it should be stopped somewhere around here. So we have our graph down to x-intercept where x equals to 0, and then up to here and down to x-intercept. Okay, so this is our cubic function for case 2. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to label your graph. So we have x square 3 minus x. Okay, so domain and range both are real number. Okay, okay, So that is how to find cubic function for a case 2. So basically just the same. We determine our basic shape, and then we determine our x-intercept and y-intercept. But we have to do a testing value because we want to know where does this go. Okay, sampai mana? Ini sampai mana nak pergi ni? Alright. Okay, so you can try more on this, on cubic function from DIY 2 here. Please try all of this. I will give the answer for domain and range only. Okay, so this is your exit ticket 12 for all of the videos that you have already watched today. We have 2 questions here, so please submit on your GC. That is all. We are going to continue on the next function nantilah. Okay, alright, bye bye, thank you. I'll see you guys when I see you guys.